Alright everybody, welcome back. This is Eternal Blade here with a new video tutorial. Today we're going to be modeling a TV stand. It's going to be about 44 inches wide and probably about 2 feet tall. We're going to be rendering it using the V-Ray rendering engine. We'll go through the texturing process, the modeling process, and the rendering process. So without further ado, let's jump right in. We're going to start by making a box here. And the length, let's actually go up to Customize, Unit Setup. We're just going to go to metric and change it to, well, we'll do fractional inch, decimal inches is actually probably better. Okay, so come back here. The length, we're going to want it to be 44. For the width, we're going to want it to be, let's see here. Actually, let's make the length 14, the width 44. And the height is going to be about 0.6, a little over half an inch. Press Z to zoom into your windows. Alright, Alt-W to maximize your window here. Let me move my microphone a little bit. Alright, so we have the basic top here. Now, what this does is it kind of curves out on the edge like this. So we're going to convert it to an editable poly. I have that bound to Control-Alt-Q. You can also go in your modifier list and find edit poly right there. Next, what we're going to want to do is go to edge mode, which is 2 on the keyboard, and we're just going to want to connect that just like that. Alright, now it only bends on, well, actually, yeah, it only bends on one edge. So we're going to take this point right here, and in the top view we're just going to press W to move. We're going to bring it out a little bit so we get this kind of slightly curved look. Alright, press 2 again, and now what we're going to want to do is preferably flow connected. So go, let's see. Alright, so in your modeling section, we're going to want to go to, odd. Could have sworn it was here. No, it's definitely not it. Oh, there it is, Flow Connect. So, oops, that's not good. Control Z to undo. And I believe I have a button hit. Problem is I don't know which one. Alright, that's kind of weird. But, Flow Connect. Flow Connect. Alright. Clearly something terrible has happened, and we're going to figure out what it was. So we have, what the hell is this? Constrained to none. Alright, so what happened was I had a random vertice right here, so we're just going to remove that vertice. 2 to enter in here, and let us try Flow Connect again. And it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Press G to get rid of the grid here. Oh, don't want that. Go away. F3 to go into wireframe. Very odd. You would think it has something to do with that. I feel like that shouldn't be there. Ah, I think I understand why. Okay, so we're just going to do regular connect and a regular connect. Okay, go into the top view. Press 1 to select your vertices and drag them ever so slightly. Okay, F3 to go back into the regular mode here. Now the corners of this are rounded, so we're going to go in here, and for each of the corners we're going to select them all, go to chamfer, and in your chamfer window bring it to about 0.734, and we'll give it 3 chamfers to give it a pretty clean edge there. Alright, next what we're going to do is select the outer 2, and actually there's an easier way of doing this. What we're going to do is just select the top polygons, the bottom polygons. F2 will toggle on if you want to actually see the polygons. Control, select edges, and just Alt and select to deselect those middle edges. Now that we've got these, go to chamfer, bring the chamfers down to 1, and there you go. Give it ever so slight chamfer. You know, 0.012 should be fine. What we want to do is just prevent it from having trouble when we turbo smooth it. Alright, that's looking pretty decent. Deselect that. And P for perspective. Alright, so next let's add a mesh smooth. Mesh smooth or turbo smooth doesn't really matter. And we'll give it a few iterations here and see how terrible it looks. Okay. So let's actually go back here, delete that. We're going to try a turbo smooth. Turbo smooth. Huh. Definitely does not like that very much. Oh, there we go. That looks pretty good. Zoom in on the edges here, make sure it's still good. Okay. We're gonna actually bring that back down to 2 here, just while we work on it. See, the thing is, Turbo Smooth really likes round or 4 square, like squares and rectangles. It doesn't like when you have n-gons, which are, you know, polygons with multiple points. I could have gone a different way, but this is an easier way of doing it. Alright. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so moving on. We're next going to need to build the supports for this. So go into Cylinder, turn on Auto Grid, and just on the bottom of this, build a cylinder coming down. The radius is going to be about 0.6, I think, should work. So 0.6. The height is going to be 8 inches. Okay. And that's going to be all we need for the cylinder. So go into the front view by pressing F and press W and just move it up a little bit, just so we get in there. Alright, now let's place this. So it's 2.5 by 5 away. So make a box using Auto Grid and just do that. Make this 2.5 and just W shift drag. Okay, and make this 5. So now what we can do is press E to rotate, press A to angle snap, and rotate it 90 degrees. Make sure you're moving it on the right axis here, and just kind of bring it over here. What this will do is allow us to place this in the appropriate position. So we'll line that up right there, and bring this up here, and drag it up. There we go. Now we're in the right area. So let's just move these back into where they were and swap them to the other side. Okay. So drag them like that. And click on this, hold shift, and drag it over just so it matches up. Alright. And then there are 2 more. I think they're in the exact same spot on the other side, except they're about 2 inches, or maybe an inch from the edge. So hold shift on both those and move them right near the edge. Okay. Now you can delete our 2 measuring sticks. So we're getting somewhere now. Next, let's create the little top pieces. So hold shift and drag up on this to create. Actually, let's do this all at once. So hold shift on all of these and drag them up. Okay. And make them a little taller. Now let's see what we want to do. Select them all. Or actually select one. No, this isn't going to work. Let's delete these. How do we want to do it by this? Let's create a actually, well, try with one. Create this, convert it to an editable poly, select the top plane here, bevel it just a little bit, just to kind of make a cap like that. Select all the polygons down here and delete. Go to the border mode or press 3 on your keyboard and press cap. Okay. Move these vertices up right here. Select this polygon here, inset, and inset it just a little bit. Okay. Now what we're going to want to do is turbo smooth. Okay, so we're going to kind of create a cap here. Give it 2 iterations. That'll make it nice and smooth. Okay, and drag it back down. I'm actually going to make this gray here so we can see it a little easier. Alright, now we're going to have our little cap. Let's see here, go into the top view, press F3, and we're going to want it to be a little bit bigger than this. So on the XY axis, just increase the size to about there. Just so the little rings are on the edge, or they're kind of right about there. Okay. Go back into perspective here, and I'm trying to make sure it doesn't come out too far. And maybe we'll bring it just a bit more down, right about there. Okay. Go into your top view and make a duplicate. Shift drag. Okay. And just line it up. You can just eyeball it since they don't actually come through the top here. Press Z to zoom into one. Okay. Now also by eyeballing things, instead of just exactly aligning them, you get something that looks more human. You don't want it to look computer generated by just having everything perfectly aligned. Okay, F3 to get rid of that, P for perspective. It's looking pretty good. So next, we're going to want to take this, go into your front view, and simply shift drag it down. Okay, just so we touch the edges there. Alright, our next step is going to be to create the bottom panels. We'll actually give these one iteration here. And 2. 2 iterations works. Do a quick test render here. You can just hit render production. Make sure you don't have any weird lines or errors or anything, and we're looking pretty good. Okay, get rid of the V-Ray window. And actually, I feel like these are thick. Too thick. So, just because I think they look too thick, it doesn't mean they really are. We're going to go here and change this to local. And on the XY, we're just going to shrink it down a little bit. There we go. Just so that we can skinny them all out. And change this back to view. Alright. Next, let's see, we're going to go on here. So make a box using AutoGrid. Alright, just like that. The length, which is that way, is going to be about 14 inches. So 14. Alright, and we can adjust these numbers if they don't come out just right. For example, I think that's going to be a little bit too much, so I think we're going to go down to maybe 13. Yeah, 13 should be good, because the Turbo Smooth changes the dimensions a little bit. Alright. Next, let's position it, it's about an inch away from the edge. So just make a box, and right around there is an inch. Change that to an inch. Move this over to line up. Okay. Perfect. Now what we're going to want to do is give this a little bit of a turbo smooth everywhere. So just press, well, we can, Control A, and then select all the lines, chamfer. Okay, and give it a very, very small chamfer, about 1, and we'll give it 2 segments. This will just even out the entire look of the structure, so it doesn't look too harsh. And we're going to be far away anyway. We just don't want the light to reflect oddly. Next, let's make the other side. So just go into your front view here and simply copy it over. Okay, and if you want, we can double check our measurement by putting our box. So just go like so. Make the long an inch. Okay, and line it up. Bring it down and bring it over. There we go. Now we have. Wow, that does not look the same, does it? Let's actually take a look at that. We'll delete that. Is that 1 inch? Yeah, that's an inch. All right, let's go back over here. All right, and just check on this one to make sure it's. Huh. Could have sworn we had that one aligned right. Oh well. Just move it over 2 little lines. Okay, and then delete it. There we go. Now they're both equal. So next, copy this by shift and dragging. Okay, press E. Angle snap should already be on, or if not, press A. Rotate it 90 degrees. Go into the top viewport, press F3 to show the lines, and convert it to an editable poly if it's not already, and simply go into your vertex mode and drag the vertices out until they reach. Right, just align it approximately. No real need to be very detailed here, as we're not going to see the majority of this part anyway. Okay, there we go. So go back into your perspective, F3, and now we have a nice little backing for it. Now what we're also going to want to do is take this, go into the front view, and drag it down. Okay, just to where it intersects. So now you can see the general shape of our cabinet here. We're going to put some doors right over here. So now we're going to want to take these, and we're going to want to go in about, I'll call it a foot each. So let's make a box, auto grid turned on, there we go. Make this about 12 inches. Not the height 12 inches, no, that's not what we want. We want the width to be 12 inches. Okay, and let's take a look. That looks pretty good. So bring it over till it intersects. Okay, and do the same for here. Shift drag just to do it at the same time. Alright, take this one, shift drag it over, and line it up. Okay, just till it crosses the line. And again, over here, shift drag, and align it. Alright, perfect. So there's the basic space we're looking at. I think we're actually gonna, let's bring these in about 2 more inches each. So make it 14 and make it 14, because it looks like it's just too far away for this cabinet. So scoot them in and align them appropriately. Okay, that works. And do the same with the other side. So just drag it until it comes out and put it back in. Take this one and do the same. Alright, now we can delete those. Our next step here is going to be to make the doors. So get a simple box, and we're going to make them parallel to these. So just build a box about the same size. Make the height or the depth is going to be probably about 0.6. It really doesn't matter. It's going to be closed anyway. So go into the front viewport here. Control-Alt-Q to convert to an editable poly. Go into the first vertex mode here and just line everything up as best as possible. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. We do want some gaps. That'll help the light just spread and whatnot. Alright. So just get them approximate, but make sure you leave a little gap because the doors do have to open. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Now go back into perspective here and just actually go into your left. Whoa, left-hand viewport is way messed up. Wonder what I did there. Well, I don't think it was my fault. Alt W. Huh. Front, left. I honestly have no idea what's happening there. Top, front, left, perspective left. It's got to have something to do with one of my settings, but for now we'll just go over here. I'll figure that one out at a later date. So here's our front cabinet, so just sync it till it's a little bit, actually no, sync it a little bit behind, okay? Go back here, perspective, and wow, what are we doing here? That's really creepy. I don't know why it's doing that. That's a new one. I don't know. Okay, no, not a problem. So go in here, select the front face of our polygon, and we're going to want to inset it. Inset about a half an inch. So just do 0.5. Okay, and hit the checkbox. Next, we're going to want to bevel it. So bevel it about 0.2 and make this 0.05. Actually, I want negative 0.2 and maybe negative 0.1 will work better. Oops, negative. Come on. No, you don't like doing that. You always have to have a number in there or else it doesn't. Okay, I'm not sure why my delete key's not working. Okay, 0.11. Okay, I'm at a loss. I have no idea. Maybe I should just give up. Alright, so we're going to do this the old manual way. Alt W. So we have our front face selected here. I hope. What face do we have selected here? Let's go back. Alright, so here we go. Bevel. And we'll just 0.1 and negative 0.05. There you go. Alright, next let's this edge and this edge loop, and I didn't get them all, so just select the remaining edges here. It's been a while since I used 3ds Max. I've been pretty busy at work, so just kind of get back into the groove here. Chamfer it, give it a really small chamfer, just enough to break up the edges. Okay, and select all the outside edges here. Go to F3 and just see what we're getting. And then let's select all the back end edges as well, just in case we want to have continuity. So chamfer, and that should be perfect. Okay. And so there we go. That is pretty much one of our doors. I'm actually thinking that I want to click on the door, press 1, not that, not F1, press 1, press R, and just shrink them down a bit. It gives it a bit more of a defined look. Alright, that looks pretty good, and if you want, we can even just try to even these out, make them a bit more square. Okay, there we go. F3, and actually, I'll go back there. Let's copy this door to the other side. So just move it right over and put it into place. Perfect. Now it also has a little door here in the middle, which kind of swings up. So we're going to build that. It's a simple door. There's not much to it. 0.6. The width. Just Control Alt Q. Press 1, and just line these all up. Okay, that one's good. And this one's good. That side's good. And actually give this a bit more of a gap. It has some room to swing. And this side's good. We'll give it a little bit more of a gap here on the bottom too. Okay. And this is pretty much just a plain piece of wood, so Control A, give it a small chamfer. About 0.4 should do. Give it 2 segments. Okay. That'll work. And then sync it back. So go into the not that viewport. This L should work. I don't know why. And just bring it till it's just a little bit back. Okay. So Alt W, perspective, and bam. We're back. And I'm not sure if we're upside down or what's wrong here. Okay, there we go. So that'll work. Let's check out the back. Looks good. Now what we're going to want to do is design a little handle for it. So here's the handle. We're going to have a radius of about 0.3, a height of 1 inch, and we're just going to go in here and convert it to an editable poly. Go into the top view, F3, go into the vertex mode here. Oops. Make sure you convert to an editable poly. And we're just going to shrink it a little bit. Press R, and actually the front view is better for this, I think. And shrink it. Okay, go back to the top, select the inner two, front, and shrink those a little bit. Okay, back into perspective here. Press 2, select the outer edges, and loop. I don't know why they don't fix that. That should work. Control select, chamfer, It's going to give you a massive chamfer. Bring it down and give it 3 segments. Okay. Next, we're actually going to, let's see here. Let's select all these verts on the back. We're going to make them just a bit smaller. Okay, and smaller yet. Just so it kind of flows in. Let's get these and shrink them a bit as well. Maybe a bit more. There's an easier way of doing this. Let's just delete this. Press 1 and move these back. Alright, there we go. Problem solved. Now we've got our little handle. So go to the front view here. And an easy way to do this is just create a box the entire length of the thing you want to put it on. Press 2. Oops. Convert to an editable poly. Press 2. Select it. Connect. Go right in the middle. Bring this down to about where you want it. It's right about here. Okay. Take this and simply position it. Boom. Problem solved. Go over and delete it. Okay. Now take this and let's position these where they're supposed to go over here. So cancel that. Take this, shift drag right to about here, and we should have actually kept that. Bring another box up, take it, do the same thing, Control Alt Q, select the lines, connect. Alright, now you can see where the exact middle is, and just drag it down. Okay, delete, and move it over the other side so it looks the exact same. Okay, and there we have it. That's pretty much the entire modeling for this. Now we're going to do some textures here. So actually, how do we want to go about this? Let's go top. You can turn off auto grid now, and we're just going to do this. What the hell is wrong with this viewport? That is the most retarded thing I've ever seen. Alright, go back here, press W, move it down, and just kind of align it. Alright, convert it to an editable poly, go into vertex mode here, and drag this up, and drag this like so, and you can drag that back. Alright, add a turbo smooth, and give it, 3 iterations just to make it nice and smooth. Okay, an editable poly, vertex, bring this one out a little bit. Alright, what we're trying to do is give ourselves a background so we can render with. And for now, make that white. Okay, just makes it a little easier to see. Now, this is mostly black wood, so I'm going to select all of these are going to be the same texture, so we're just going to make these black. And, well, yeah, let's start with our textures here. Alright, so it's a black wood, so I just googled black wood, and I'm just taking a look here to see what I like. Let's see. You want something that's fairly big. So search tools, size, larger than. See what this brings up. These aren't bad, but they're not quite what I'm looking for. This is pretty close. So we're gonna right click, save the image as, and go to your projects folder. Active projects. This is going to be the TV stand and black wood. Okay. Now, this is kind of brown, so I'm going to actually quickly here go into Photoshop, if I can find it. Photoshop. If you want, you can also use GIMP or any of the free software. We're just going to adjust the color here a little bit because I don't want it to be brown. Alright. File, open. And go to that same project folder. Active projects, TV stand, Blackwood. Okay. Now we're going to do image adjustments, hue and saturation. We're just going to darken it and kind of desaturate it a bit. Okay, that should work nicely. So file, save as. This is going to be Blackwood diffuse. Okay. Now image adjustments, hue and contrast, or hue, and make it. Actually, let's go to image adjustments, brightness and contrast. So brighten the image up and increase the contrast. Yeah, we're trying to get it so you can see the white. Okay, file, save as, Blackwood specular, or actually bump, I guess. We're going to use it for the same thing. Alright, and that's all we need. The other two textures that we need are, well, we can build them all inside here. So let's go to our material editor here, or you can press N. And actually, first we're going to want to go to render setup, check your renderer. You can do this in V-Ray, Scanline, or in what's it called? V-Ray, Mental Ray, or Scanline. We're going to use V-Ray, and we're already set up. So press M for material, and we're going to make this full screen here. We're going to use the V-Ray materials here. We're just going to use a typical V-Ray material. So in the diffuse map, we're going to do a standard bitmap, and go to your projects folder, TV stand, Blackwood diffuse. Okay. For the bump, we're going to use the Blackwood bump. Double click on this to make it a little bit bigger so you can see what we're working with here, and double click on the material. So let's see, it's a little bit shiny, so we're going to, on the reflect, change it a little bit here, and click this button right here, show background and preview, so you can see how it's going. So that's way too much. V3. I don't understand why that goes off. 2, 3, 2.5. Yeah, we'll go with 3 for now. Actually, maybe 2. We'll go with 2. Come on, hit 2. There we go. Okay, for our maps, you can go to the bump map, and we're set at 30 right now. That should be fine. That should work for what we need. So let's simply apply that material. So let's select what we want, these, and these, plus that, that, and the back part. Alright, you come up here, and then there is assign material to selection. So now we've got it all assigned. let's do a quick render here and just see what it looks like. We have no lights or anything, so it'll probably look black. Okay. Let's actually do that before we continue on. So go up here, go to lights, V-Ray, just make a V-Ray light. Okay, we're going to actually try to replicate a room almost. So press E, rotate it 90 degrees. So let's kind of pretend we have, you know, like a, well, yeah. Let's actually make this a, well, that'll work. And let's put a plane into position. Press E, rotate it 90 degrees. We're just trying to cut off the room, and when we get to using ambient occlusion, or not ambient occlusion, but global illumination, we want it to kind of bounce correctly. So I'm just setting up a basic scene, kind of modeled off what I'm living in. So we'll put that here. Okay, editable poly, press 1. Let's just drag those back. That should be fine. Now select the edges here. Now when you shift drag, it'll actually create more. So do that and drag them up. Okay. Now when you go back in your Turbo Smooth, you'll have a nice kind of round thing. And I also want to just try, for the sake of trying, convert this to an editable poly. And let's bring it out like that, and that, and we'll just come back over there. Okay? Just to see what'll happen. I'm just curious. And we'll just select this edge right here and bring it over. Alright. Next, let's make a V-Ray camera. So V-Ray physical cam. Go on the top viewport and just click like that. Press C to enter into your camera mode, and then go to just open up another mode here and get out of whatever it is you're in. Let's make this not white, gray, so it doesn't blow up our eyes. Alright, and just kind of give it a nice view to be rendered from. So now if you render the production, you'll see we're going to have a completely different thing. It's going to be all black because our camera is not adjusted correctly. So let's go and adjust our camera. But before we do so, let's go in here and just make this, you know, a little bit less. 320 by 240. Indirect illumination is still off, so we don't have to worry about that. And in the settings here, make the render division 32. This will just make it so we have smaller buckets. Okay. And in the camera here, we're going to want to change the shutter speed to, I believe, let's try 50 and see how that goes. You can also press F9 when you're rendering. And let's see, hit this button right here. That'll render right where your little mouse pointer is. Okay, that didn't change much. Let's change this first off to neutral. Let's try 15. Something's going to happen eventually, I guarantee it. There we go, we're starting to get some results. I'll go back over to our light here and let us change the multiplier if we want. Let's see. Type. Let's change that. Let's double the light intensity here. And we're also going to let's clone this and press OK. Make this a spherical light and bring it back down to a sphere shape. Alright. What we're trying to do here is imitate a hanging ceiling fixture. You can make it a dome if you want, but sphere I think works just fine. Color, make it kind of a bit off-white. Okay. You could also use a V-Ray Sun. Well, we'll probably try that too, just to see how it works. So render production, and here we go. We're getting some better results. All right, let's go back over here. Not here. We want to go press M for material and make a V-Ray material, another one. Okay, make it big, make the reflect fairly high, and make the diffuse color black. What we're doing here is making a chrome, and we also want it to be a little bit brushed. Do we want for now? No, we want. Let's go to options. Maps. Let's go to. Well, actually, it's not really. That's actually probably good. So that'll work. Now what we can do is assign that material. So we can just click this button and assign it. Oop, I think we assigned the wrong one. Alright, scroll to the, oh god. Click this, this. Okay, I think my eyes are about to explode here. So, push and go into here, F3, and then select all the little knobs and simply assign material to selection. Okay, there we go. And let's just double check we didn't mess up any of this. I'll make another V-Ray material here. Where did you go? And just assign it to the floor, just so it works. Okay. Now this light over here needs to come way down in intensity. Make this like 15. Okay. And let's render out another one. Alright, so you see we got our chrome there, and we did make a mistake. So this material is not assigned correctly. There we go. And make sure it worked. Yes, it did. Okay. Now we're going to make kind of a black plastic material, quite shiny. Let's go back in here. And I would suggest naming your materials, but we're just doing this once, so there's no real point. But you can use this in any sort of scene. So click on this material here, double click. You'll see it has this dotted line showing you have it selected. In the diffuse color, make it almost black. And the reflect, you want a little bit of reflection, not as much as chrome. So right about there looks pretty good. There is no bump, it's perfectly smooth. And go back here. And usually I do this on a second monitor so you can drag it over, but I want you to be able to see. So click these two, and then simply assign to selection. Okay. So I think we might want to make these a bit more reflective. So go in here, and on the reflect, let's change it to 4. Okay. And see how that looks. So render it out. And remember, we don't have global illumination on yet, so you won't be able to really tell the difference. Alright, so let's go to our render setup. Indirect illumination, turn it on. You want irradiance map and a light cache. So in the irradiance map, you can set it at medium for now. And for your light cache, let's do 500 subdivisions. Okay. And view physical cam and render it out. It's going to take a little while to do all the prepasses and whatnot. You can see immediately that we have a different look to it. It's bouncing the green from the wall. So we don't quite want that, so let's go to our material selection here. And we have our green wall on this side. Let's assign the basic gray material to it. And what we're going to do is give this gray material a bit of a bang. So we're going to give it a bit of reflection so it bounces off maybe 5. Okay. And that should work. And actually, let's go to our chrome material here and zoom in a bit. So where we have our, we should have anisotropy somewhere. Yeah, here we go. So let's just change this to 0.5 and 0.3. It should change the look of it, I believe. I don't think it doesn't go that high. So we'll leave it like that for now. We'll see how that affects it. Alright, so let's try putting in a V-Ray sun. So in your front view, just go bam. Add the environment map. Now we're going to have a completely different render, so we're going to have to play with it a little bit. It's going to probably be a lot brighter, I think. Okay, yeah, we're way brighter. Let's cancel that actually. Go to our sun here. And go to our camera actually. And our shutter speed, we're going to bump that back up to, let's call it 100. Now that we actually have a sun, it matters. We still might need to bump it down a bit. Yes, you can see the difference in the two materials at least now. Let's see. Let's move our camera target a little bit to the left here. Okay. And in here, click it and go to show safe frames. That'll show what you're actually rendering out. So bring it in a bit. Okay. And let's bring the sun up a bit more. I think what we need here is a roof. So we're gonna roofitize this. So over here, select, oops, my bad, press 2, select the top things here, and simply bridge those, so now we have a roof. Okay? So our sunlight is only going to come in from certain areas, and I think we should actually probably bridge these. Well, we might make a skylight portal here. So let's render this out, see where we are. Should be a bit darker now that we've closed in the roof. Yeah, so it's significantly darker. Alright, so you can see where we have our shadow on this side, so we're going to actually bring the sun down a bit. And get out of this, go here. You can see the shadow changing in the actual render. Okay. We're going to offset it just a bit to one direction. Alright. We can try that. So render that up. Alright, so it's far too dark there, so we're going to bring it back up and change the sun. Alright, hold on. Alright, so we're actually going to do a skylight portal, a simple skylight portal for this light. This means it's kind of like a window, almost. We're going to try using that instead of the actual light that we had before. Go to our camera here and change this to 50. And let's rendering that out. Okay, so one of the problems we're having here is we don't have anything to really reflect off of it. So what we're going to do, I think, is first change this to 25, and then we're going to make some spheres and stuff. Okay, press R, and go make it kind of a big spherical shape. Hope you can't hear the train in the background, but maybe you can. Pretend it's like a couch or something like that. Make it a kind of brownish color. Typical couch. And let's try rendering again. Alright, we're gonna play with some stuff here. Go back to that actually. Oh crap, it took our window away. Let's go into the render settings here, and for V-Ray, let's see here. Just enable the V-Ray frame buffer here. Gives you a little bit extra to play with. And let's see. From the light cache, looks good. I don't want to change that to high, it takes too long for what we're doing here. Let's increase the size of that a bit. And I'm just going to drag this over to the side here. Go to our camera and change it to 15. I'm trying to brighten it up a bit more. And let's re-render. Takes a bit longer when you're doing this, so I'm just pausing it. Alright, so we're getting some little jagged edges right there, and this is just, it just seems to be too black for what we want, that texture. So we're going to go in, and over here, let's add a bit more reflection, maybe 5, just so we can get some of the atmosphere coming through. And we're going to, let's see, diffuse, that's good. We're going to change the diffuse texture to about 80%, just so the gray, or maybe 95, so the gray bleeds through a little bit more. Maybe actually 98. We're going to play with some of these numbers here. And for the black plastic material, we're going to give it 2, and bring the reflect down to about 10, and maybe 8. Alright. And re-render. Alright, so get a little bit better. Go to materials here, double click on this, and let's bring our glossiness to about 0.9. Actually, let's bring it a little farther. We want to get very soft reflections if we can. Okay. And let's try playing with that value a little bit. We're going to bring this back here and render. Alright, so it's getting a little bit better. I think we still need them a bit more glossy, so we're going to kind of go 0.34. And let's bring this back to 100. And the bump map, let's actually bring this up to say 40. And we're gonna try that. I think, let me see here. How does this look? We're actually going to delete that and just kind of extend our tube down farther. Okay. That way the light can bounce around without any weird reflections. We should probably, let's actually make this light a bit darker. Okay, multiplier, maybe bring it to 25. So what we want it to do is create some shadow and definition on our table here. Yeah, not quite that dark. Okay, let's render this. Alright, so this is what we have so far. It actually looks pretty close to the original. I just like this texture. I feel like should be a little bit lighter, and I feel it has to do with our material. So we're going to go back into Photoshop here. Alright, and we're going to open up that diffuse material that we had. We're going to lighten it up a bit. It's just too dark for what we want. So open up the diffuse, image adjustments, brightness and contrast, and we're going to just increase the brightness a bit on this. Okay, and we're going to save. Alright, so now when we come back in here, let's try to render it again. Alright, we're still not getting much change, so I think we're going to take a new approach here. We're going to bring the sun and bring the intensity multiplier down a bit, so 0.5, and then we're going to go here and bring the shutter speed to 10. Actually, let's try 5. I'm trying to bring the texture out but not get as much sun. Alright, let's try rendering this. Alright, so that changed a lot. We see wherever the sun hits, we're getting a little something at least. So what I'm going to do here, just to help us, maybe help us at least, is we're going to apply, oops, just kind of select that. We're going to apply some UVW modifiers here. Alright, and lastly, we need this one. Oops, and we need these two middle ones too. Damn it. Alright, one more. There we go. That one too. Yes, okay. So go to UVW, UVW map, okay, and just make it a box. Boom. It'll just help with our texturing. I'm not actually looking at the texturing too much, just because of what we're doing. At least the layout of the textures doesn't matter so much. Alright, and let's click this light here. We're actually going to change it to a plane, even though we didn't do it initially. Rotate it 90 degrees down. Should delete that and rotate 90 so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, and let's just press R and increase the size a bit. Put it over here. Let's see where that falls. Alright, that should be good. Maybe angle it just a bit so it points that way. Make it a bit brighter. 30. Cast shadows, good. Alright, we're gonna give that a go. And let's see what we get now. Actually, the sun should probably be a little higher in the sky. Okay, and render. Alright, let's cancel this rendering here. And let's actually delete this light right here. We're going to see what that does for us. I think maybe it was just overpowering our scene. So let's re-render. Alright, clearly it was not the case. So, we're going to go into our physical camera here. Let's change this to daylight. And I'm going to shutter up to 15. And let's see, what do we want to do here? Bring this light up to 60. Alright. And let's try rendering now. Alright, so that resulted in a large change, which I completely like. Now we're getting things that look a bit more realistic, so let's actually go in here and change the segments of our big sphere doohickey. Control Z. Alright, increase the size of it. Actually, I think we can, yeah, increase the size of it, except make it gray so it blends in. Let's make a box, and so we're in the top view here. Let's make a box that just blocks some light. Okay. So just stick it right here. Alright, and let's make one more box. Oops, one more box right over here. And maybe just make it a bit skinnier. Just to see if we can get some interesting shadows. Because you can see about, hopefully, where the shadows will fall. Alright, let's try rendering that. Alright, we're getting close. Click on this light here, press R, and let's just make it a lot longer. Okay. And let's go to our camera, increase the shutter, or decrease it to 10. And you can actually change something else here, but I don't remember what it was. So we're going to try 10 and re-render. Alright, so that did not help, so let's go back. Alright, sorry about that. Moving forward, we were troubleshooting. Move this back to 15. And I just had a thought. Yeah, that's what it was. So go here to our main material and bring the reflect up a bit more. Let's just try a little bit higher and see what sort of values we can get. Render. Alright, we're absolutely heading in the right direction here with this material. So let's go here, and the glossiness, let's bring it back up to say 0.7 and maybe 0.8. Okay, and re-render. Actually, there's an odd little thing here. I don't know if I like this. We're gonna delete that tube and re-render. Alright, we're getting very close here, so let's go to our render settings. Indirect illumination for the light cache. Let's change that to 1000. Okay, and make this high. For our frame here, we can do 800 by 600 will give us a nice nice thing. For area, let's do, well, let's just do 1. Okay, and settings, we can leave those as they are for now. Alright, let's render it out. Oops, cancel that. We're doing it in perspective. We want physical cam. Pause. Alright, so you can see what kind of image you're getting. It looks really good. We still have a bit of noise, so I'm going to work on getting rid of that as my next step here. So let's go to, so we're using this adaptive thing. We really want to reduce our noise threshold, so let's try 0.5. Okay. Minimum samples, we'll bring that to 10. Let's see. Adaptive amount, maybe 0.5. We could always increase these, but these really increase the render time. So we're actually going to go back here and change that to 500. And change this to medium. Okay. Adaptive subdivision is what we're going to try to use here. And let's give that a go. Actually, before we do that, let's go back. This line is pretty shiny here just because of the way that we have it. And I don't remember, but I think we want to increase these to 3. Increase these to 3. And increase this bottom one to 3. Okay. Now, looks like we're good to go. Oops. Alright, and let's re-render again. Alright, so we're still getting some noise. We're still doing our pre-pass though, so let's finish up. Alright, that was actually the last image. I was just busy, so I didn't see, but a lot of the noise has been reduced now, which is exactly what we want. We still have these large shapes here, which are coming from our light box, but we can change that to our light tube. But overall, I'm actually pretty happy with the results we're getting. These are a little bit... the wood is perfect. That's exactly what it looks like. I'm staring at it right next to me, and that's exactly what it looks like. The shadows are perfect. The diffuse reflections are really nice, and the edges, I think, are perfect. I do want to work on these plastic materials here a bit, though, so let's press M here. Go to our plastic materials and change the reflections so they reflect a bit more. Okay, and that's should be good there. Their reflection is extremely bumpy almost, so that's fine. Or sorry, it's extremely smooth, so that should be good to go. I'm gonna go here, and let's see, the glossiness is good. I like that. We're gonna increase this to 12. It'll take a little bit longer to render, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. And go here. Oops, so get out of that. Go here and make one more iteration, just for actually maybe make two, so it renders a little smoother. And let's bring this up to high again, and this up to 1000, and do one final thing. You can hit show calc phase, so it'll show you what it's doing, and render it. Alright, here we go, and I'll be back in a bit. Alright, so here's what we have now. Like I said, I like everything. The noise level is perfect. You can increase the settings a bit more. It'll take a lot longer, but you can get rid of all the noise. It was just changing the same settings we already did. The only thing I'm a little disappointed with right now is these right here. They're just too perfect. So what we're gonna do here is go into their material. This one, sorry. Their diffuse is good. In the reflectiveness, we're gonna change it to like 0.95, maybe 0.9, no, 0.95. Something cooking over there. And we're going to also go to maps, and we're going to, let's see, bump map. We're gonna choose a dent. Okay. Bring this over and go into the dent map here. And the size, we're gonna need it like 900. Bring the strength way down to like 5, maybe 1. Okay, maybe actually 2,000, 8,000, 8,000 seems like it might work. Okay, and we're gonna try rendering it. Actually, go back to material. I'm trying to get everything I can the first time out of the way. Maybe change the diffuse to, I don't know, 2 is about as low as we can go. Alright, let's try rendering that. Alright, we're going to cancel this. I think we're still going to have a similar problem. Go here, reflect, bring this down to like 50. Maybe 40, 35. What's this one at? This one is at 29, 35 might work. Okay, let's render it again. Okay, pausing. Alright, and that final render should wrap it up. Everything is perfect. We've got the nice reflections there, and if the light was directly here, you'd have some really high reflections. They'd be a little bit wavy. The wood is perfect. The diffusion of the reflections is spot on. It would look a lot better if we had other items in the room, like if you had a TV up on top, a couch in the background, you know, a table on one side. You'd get those reflections bouncing back and forth. But for what we have here, it's absolutely spot on. So I thank you for watching, and I'll be back with another tutorial soon. See you next time.